1. Sartre and situation. While reflecting on Sartre's concept of situation, I was reminded of the Buddha. This connection arises from Sartre's famous saying, "Freedom exists only within the situation," a phrase from Being and Nothingness. Each of us is immersed in a distinct set of circumstances, and when we are recognized it's something, it is situations that freedom emerges. Before recognized and thought, it is nothing and nonsense. Moreover, freedom simultaneously interprets the situation one finds oneself in. For example, one might be dissatisfied with a low salary, or not. And one think it is problem. One might choose to strike or protest, or simply remain passive. And one might cross a snow-covered hill or, quite naturally, decide against it. For Sartre, human freedom exists only within a specific situation. However, the situation one is given already carries the weight of personal value. Judgments and subjectivity. One may regard one's condition as problematic, or one may not. 2. The philosophy of the Buddha. In essence, Sartre argues that individuals possess their freedom only within their own specific circumstances. Yet, there is someone who makes a similar point, but reaches the opposite conclusion: the Buddha. For Sartre, the concrete existence of the individual is crucial. Each person exists prior to any defined essence. In contrast, from the Buddha's perspective, the existence of an individual is the root cause of all suffering. He contends that suffering stems from the self-conscious notion of I and the stubborn clinging to that self. 3. The Buddha's doctrine of no self. Why does suffering exist? The Buddha asserts that suffering arises because of the presence of I. It is important to distinguish between physical pain inherent in the body and the suffering experienced because of that pain. Interestingly, both the Buddha and Sartre agree that pain is rendered significant precisely because it is experienced as one's own bodily pain. We accept the fact of our physical pain in a meaningful way. It is our and we cherish our bodies. However, the Buddha draws a different conclusion here. He argues that our very existence leads us to subjectively interpret all the meanings of the world, thereby preventing us from advancing toward correct opinions and truth. 4. Nirvana. Nirvana is achieved by abandoning the notion of I and moving toward truth. The Buddha maintains that the concept of I is an illusion and an attachment, because it is this idea of I that gives rise to our desires, emotions, and the entire spectrum of feelings. Because we label experiences as good or bad for ourselves, all emotions and desires come into being, which the Buddha regards as detrimental. He insists that if one completely relinquishes the concept of I, one can enter into the realms of nirvana, no self, and deep meditative absorption. 5. My thoughts. Every time I read Buddhist scriptures, I notice an effort to extract notions such as emptiness, no self, principle, and so forth. Yet, once these ideas are verbalized, they cease to encapsulate the world's true principles and truths. This is because the moment they are spoken, they no longer represent the ultimate reality. They belong solely to the realm of religion. And even if one were to grasp the finality of it all, one cannot truly articulate what no self really is. What is no self? Although Buddhism claims to be founded on reason, in the end, it delves into a kind of literature and religious domain, where the answer remains elusive.